Welcome back everyone to episode 5 of the Fortnight Show. Now I'm super sad but also very excited to announce that this will be the final episode of the season. So next year we will be back with a new set, new guests, new BP run or death run, new everything. It's going to be a fresh new year with a fresh new season. But yeah, this is going to be the final episode of this very first season. Now, when I came up with this idea, I wanted to set out to invite guests, amazing creators from different facets of Fortnite. Because Fortnite's a complicated world and there's loads of different things going on in Fortnite. So just to have a quick recap for those that haven't seen the previous episodes. We started off episode 1 with a professional caster and analyst by the way of Barla TW. Then we moved on in episode 2 with an actual content creator, YouTuber, streamer by the way of Mustard Plays. And then episode 3 we had a professional Fortnite competitive player who competed at the World Cup, came 17th in Bella EU. And then the latest episode 4, we had a creative World Cup champion. He was 1/4 of Fish Fam and a professional speedrunner, and yeah, he was called Hi, I'm Tyler H. So make sure to check out those prior episodes if you haven't already, and show love to this final episode by smashing that like button, subscribing, turning on your noties, checking out all the links in the description, Twitter, all of that, so you can find out when the new season will be approaching. But more importantly, we have our guest for episode 5. Now I always say, and many people assume this as well and do say so, rightly so, that Fortnite Creative is the future, shall be the future of Fortnite. And we don't have Fortnite Creative or this aspiring future without the map builders. So we've got a very talented, an amazing, a legendary map builder with us today that's been doing this from day one. So give it up, stand up and clap your hands for Wertandrew. Welcome to the show. He's flying in. The alien Wert is flying in. Welcome. Oh my god, I feel intimidated here as he's flying above me. Let's see if you can shoot a 3 as all my guests do. Oh, do you understand me, Mr. Alien? Okay, it looks like he understood me, but he has a frisbee instead of a basketball. I don't know. Alright, welcome. Let's see if you can sit down. This is the chair. You sit here. Sit. Sit here. Chair. Chair, sit. Yes. Right there. That's the one. I'll sit here. You sit there. Okay, he's brought his own chair, ladies and gentlemen, from the outer dimensions. He has his own chair. Welcome to the show, Wirt. It's an honor to have you. Alright, there we go. He's got his voice. Alright, just to kick things off, Wirt, how about we tell me exactly a brief background about yourself, very brief, so sort of where you're from, how old you are, general hobbies, growing up.
So I'm from Greece. I build maps, and I used to also build games before, mobile games.
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, I started my first game when I was 14, and I really never pursued the career of a game developer, which I always wanted to. And at some point in my life, I decided to just stop doing what I'm doing and then pursue games. And then 7 years after, or like, I think it's 7 years, Fortnite Creative came out. So here I am, building all day, all night.
Nice. So essentially your dream came true. Okay, that is amazing. So yeah, as you mentioned there, I did see when researching as well that you have been designing maps, levels for numerous years, as you mentioned there, since you were 14. And in terms of physical game maps, you've been doing it across multiple titles such as Far Cry 3 and Game Globe. So I wondered, other than Fortnite Creative of course, what was your favourite title, your favourite game to build maps on, to build levels on?
Well, that would be Project Spark by Team Dakota, and the publisher was Microsoft. And it was a little like a game engine that they released back in 2014, I think. And you could create your own game, and you can control everything from the logic, the characters. Basically, you can make your own game. So I was there for 1 year building, and I created some really cool stuff that I'm really proud of.
Nice. I've never actually heard of that. Did they have a big player base, or what was the premise of the game other than the building part? Was there a general game base as well? Or like a default mode?
It was like Roblox, I guess, but
okay.
It only ran for 1 or 2 years, I think. Like, it didn't run too much. The servers were shut down after that, so it wasn't like very, very popular. It was very
Okay.
cool though, like very, very strong, very powerful to create your own games and stuff.
Amazing, amazing. So across all these other game titles that you've built maps on, is there any particular level or map that you've built that you would say is your absolute favorite? And just a side question to that, is there any maps from these prior games that you've taken inspiration from and used on your Fortnite creative maps?
So my favorite project is called Memories, and it's a campaign I kept rebuilding over the years. I haven't started building it yet in Fortnite, but it's a personal project that came from the first game I ever made, the one I told you when I was 14. That was my first game called Memories. So I tried rebuilding it over time to just give tribute to my first project, let's say. And it's horror, so when I do
Nice.
horror in Fortnite, it will be decent, I guess.
Yes,
Maybe
that
I'll do that project. We'll see.
amazing, amazing. Yeah, so my next question was sort of what actually motivated you to get into building maps or wanting to be a game developer. As you mentioned, you made mobile games and such before all of that. And I guess when it came to the actual creative mode in various games, did you ever play the regular game modes of them first, or do you just get straight into the building your own levels and such?
Well, I tend to play games a lot, but I also love games that have editors. Like, say 100% is me liking, I don't know, like my best game ever. When the game has an editor, it instantly goes to 120% for me. So
Okay, so you
it's like
love
a
it even
different
more.
metric. So I play games a lot. Like I have played, I don't know, tons of games. Like I have a library here full of the old physical titles and stuff. I have, I don't know, like 7 or 8 consoles. Yeah, I used to play games a lot. But I also found a lot of UGC editors. And over the years, I love like tweaking and fiddling with different stuff to see what I can do. So I've been in a lot of editors as a result of me playing too many games as well.
Fair enough. Is that all self-taught, that side of things? I guess when you were sort of developing the mobile gaming side of things, was that all self-taught, or did you go on some
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah.
course?
I never studied any of it. I just had I really like to make mazes, let's say. Like before I even learned the alphabet, I was drawing mazes as a child. So I'm like, I think I was meant to do this.
Yeah,
I was lucky I found my call.
yeah. It was actually destiny for you then.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So go throwing it back to Fortnite. When was it that you first discovered Fortnite as a whole, as a game? And did you actually play the battle royale side of things? Were you in love with the battle royale side of things before creative came out, or was creative the thing that brought you
I'm an
to Fortnite?
OG. I'm
Yeah.
an OG. I played Save the World.
Okay, so literally when Fortnite came out, saved the
Yeah,
world.
yeah, exactly. So I was a founder and I played Save the World a lot back in when he came out. Like actually when he was announced, like when it was public, I think I just joined. And then I didn't play BR like at all. And then
Okay.
when season 7 announced creative, that's when I logged in the first day. And since then, I don't think I have ever logged out.
Wow. Okay. So you literally didn't play BR. You just played Save the World and then
Yeah, yeah,
boom,
yeah.
creative. Wow. I mean, I guess you've had a couple games of BR though, right? So you know how it works and
Probably
stuff.
4.
At most. That is amazing. How did it feel when creative came out then? That's it. You just instantly fell in love. Did it make you reminisce about the prior game titles that you've built maps on and things like that?
So,
What?
so funny thing, I always loved Fortnite art style. Like I even tried to make my own game based on the art style of Fortnite because I loved how similar it was to one of my favorite games of all time, which is Time Splitters.
Oh man, yeah, we
And
just
they
we
have
talked
this.
about this on Twitter, by the way. I don't know if you
Oh,
remember a
really?
while ago. Yeah, Time Splitters
Oh,
2 is one of my all-time favorite games growing up.
yes.
Many months
Yeah.
ago we had a little Twitter conversation about this. But yeah, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, so like Time Splitters 2 is my personal favorite game of all time, and then it comes Time Splitters 3. And Fortnite looks very similar to the ratio and the art style. Like if Time Splitters was built today, it would look like Fortnite, like
Yeah.
exactly. So every time I log into Fortnite, I see Time Splitters. I don't see Fortnite. And then it motivates me so much to start building. And the day they announced the creative stuff, I was like, this is it. This is it. I'm gonna make my dream come true. Because in Time Splitters, I would build so many maps. It was my favorite thing, like as a child. Just come back home after school and like thinking what I'm gonna do today, and then I would create horror maps and like VR training maps, like Metal Gear Solid. It was a crazy time, and I loved it. And I am, I don't know if that's the word, but reminiscent of that like past. So I
Yeah, it
wanna
gives you
like
that
do it
nostalgia.
again. Yeah, it gives you like it gives your creative juices flowing if you focus on a sentiment that gives you all the imagination, motivation, all that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, that's why I love Fortnite, and I think I'm gonna stick no matter what happens, because I really love the art direction, how polished it looks, and how quickly it develops. Like just see where we're what it was doing last year as a creative, and where we are now. Like you can do crazy stuff now.
Yeah. Thinking about Fortnite Creative as a map making tool, how would you compare it to other games that you've built on?
See, it's a different beast. It's not that it's not a beast, but it's a different beast altogether. It has its own strengths. Like if you want to talk how powerful it is, it ain't very powerful yet, because it's a little bit limited based on other UTC editors and everything, and like other game engines, like little UTC game engines, I guess. But since it's very polished, and like every single thing they add, they make it look so cool, like so much. I don't know. It has its own sound effects, VFX. It works well. Like you can feel like this is a device that you would do for X reason. Like it feels good when you use it. Like all these little things make it stand out. And I don't know how to say exactly, but in its own strengths, it's very powerful. But it's not powerful overall. Like if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I guess that's more exciting though for you, because it just shows that there's space for improvement and just for it to improve and get better over time.
Yeah, definitely.
And
And
get
I
more
can't
powerful.
wait to see where this goes, because there's so much potential in Fortnite Creative. Like I said that day one.
100%. All right. Well, that is it for this first segment of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for those of you that have been watching this series, know that I usually have a mini game, but I also have the BP death run at the end of the show that I get all my guests to run. However, as we do have a special guest that is a map builder today, we will not be running the BP run, which I'm sure you're super happy about. And we're going to give Wirt his own challenge today, which we're going to introduce right now, but he will be doing at the end of the show. So we're going to go over to the building challenge area right now and catch you guys there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are here in the Builder Challenge area, and what we have in front of us is 10 obscure and absolutely random props for you, Wirt. So we got a chair, we got a checkers or chessboard, we got an apple, we got a pie, a whole bunch of random things. And what I'm going to task you with is using these props. You don't have to use all of them, use however many you want, whichever ones you want. But over here in the orange area, you must build something recognizable. So it could be a house, a car, or whatever you think of, but something recognizable using these props. And we're only going to give you 10 minutes because you are an expert map builder, so we got to make this a bit of a challenge. I just wanted to introduce it now so we can get Wirt thinking about it subconsciously as we go into the next set of questions. You excited for this challenge?
I'm excited.
Alright, let's go. Let's get back to the studio then. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we have Wertandrew on the show. And we're going to get into the next segment of questions. So, I wanted to kick things off in this segment by bringing up Dungeon Prison series, which is one of your first and biggest, most amazing series that you have made. It had huge content creators like Lachlan, and even Mustard Plays, when he was on my show, said that it was his favourite map series ever that he played on Fortnite Creative. And so I wondered how much planning and time went into building a map like that. And was it planned from the very beginning to be a series? Do you sort of storyboard it out, or did you just jump into creative and sort of come up with the story map and design as you're going along? And then also just what was your reaction and feeling when you seen the public reaction, when all the content creators and the whole population of Fortnite Creative in general were loving off this map?
All right, so basically for Dungeon Prison 2, because that's how people... Actually, you know what? It was Dungeon Prison 1 who set the bar, because that's That's the one I believe most people play. It wasn't number 2. So the first one was the one that, like, I was super excited to see people play it, because I added trolls in the map. Like, it was my first attempt to create an escape map, but I also wanted to have areas that are like alternative and are trolls basically. So the whole point of making this map was to make it and then watch people play it and get trolled.
Yeah.
So
You just want to see them suffer.
essentially, I did I did that to the entire Fortnite community, and I was so happy to see so many people getting trolled, you know. But then I released number 2, and number 2 I was a little bit more serious. It's like, okay, this time I'm gonna like make it a completely different beast. So the first one was a little bit more trolly but linear. The second one was I was aiming for something like Metroid. So you get like an open world, and then you unlock more abilities to progress further. So at that time, nobody has done it yet. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna make something that you get something later on, and you can use it somewhere else to progress. But it was so hard to debug because it was like a completely new format for a map. So I had to like work in a different way, and it kind of fried my brain a little bit just to make sure everything worked. But yeah, it was a crazy experience. And I remember that map, I had like 30 different updates. So I can like, you know, like now we have the metrics to see our map stats. I cannot see the map stats on Dungeon Prison 2 because it's split among like 20 different codes.
Oh, no way.
Because there were so many bugs.
versions.
Like every single update would break the map. And imagine having to debug a 4 hours map, like a gameplay 4 hours, every single update. Like,
that's tough.
It also took like super hard work to make it work and make sure that everybody enjoyed it. They still send me bug reports of that map.
Yeah, I was going to say,
fix it.
That's something I appreciate about you. I see you on Twitter. For those that are not following him, make sure you follow him on Twitter, because he does always put updates of all of the maps that he's made. And yeah, like you said there, when you do fix any bug reports, you write that on that little sheet that you've got, right? You've got a graphic which shows all your maps and the codes and which ones you're still working on and which ones are ready to play and been fixed of any bugs and things like that. So that's really cool.
So
that
I
you
have
do
like the recommended list, which is basically the ones I recommend for people to play if they don't know all my maps. And there's also the featured list and the broken list, which is the worst one. Broken list means don't play it, it's broken.
Yeah, all right, that's really cool. So yeah, a few weeks after you released Dungeon Prison 2, literally I think about 2 or 3 weeks after that map came out, Epic invited you and 3 other incredible creators, G Shui, KK Slider and the homie Hellraiser, to the HQ to form the first ever official creative team, which is Team Create, of course. And yeah, I wondered, what was that whole experience like, being flown out there, working with the team directly, working with these other map builders from across the world? Yeah, how was that whole experience?
It was one of the craziest experiences in my life, because it was the same time when I was flying there that the whole Dungeon Prison 2 explosion happened. Like, everybody started playing it. It was like crazy. So it happened at the same time. So I kind of shared the feeling, because both huge things happened at the same time, and I'm like, oh my god, what is happening?
You didn't know which to
like
be excited
me and
about.
my family was like, yeah, excited is an understatement. Like, I can't even express what happened back then. It was unbelievable. But then yeah, we went to the headquarters at Epic, and then we go to design this level. I can't say too much because obviously NDAs and stuff, but it was a crazy experience to meet the people behind creative, to see all the hard work that goes into the mode. And sometimes we take things for granted, but there's so much work that goes behind the scenes, you know? And it was the same for us, like building that map, we had to make sure it was perfect. And we only had like a few days, and we also wanted to build the second map while we were there, and we also built Nightly Narrows. It was the little city, I don't know if you remember that, we published as Team Create.
Yeah,
like
I think I remember that. I remember the teasers for it.
Yeah, so we built that map in the headquarters as well. And yeah, it was crazy, because we were building so fast. Like, I remember the first day we just plan out the thing, and then the next day we have it half done, and the third day was done.
Wow.
And that's it. Like we built so fast. We were very organized, and I was super glad that it went well, and they were happy with our results as well.
Yeah, was there someone from the actual Fortnite creative team that was sort of leading you guys and telling you, giving you like dedicating jobs to you guys or delegating roles to you guys, or were you guys just working as with each other directly in terms of
It was
as team
mostly
crew?
us. They provided help for us to to test and like but they essentially left it to us to build the entire thing. They didn't direct or control the result or so we planned the thing on our own, and then we built it on our own, and we also told them what we were about to build, and they agreed, and we're okay. So it was mostly us.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing. I mean, yeah, like you say, so you told your family and everyone was just super excited then, right? Just being flown out to
Yeah,
America
yeah.
just for a game that
It
you're
wasn't
in
the
love
first
with.
time I've been called to the US for a UGC editor, but it was the time that I was the most excited about, you know?
I can imagine. Wow. So yeah, the excitement didn't stop there, because of course a few months after that you were invited again to Hollywood, I believe, for the game jam alongside like 15, 16 other incredible creators worldwide. So yeah, how was that experience working with so many creators directly with the Epic devs again, and just
I think they spoiled us. They just spoiled us because now I don't know if anything can be any more exciting like than this, I guess. Like it was an unreal experience, no pun intended. But yeah, it was amazing. Like I don't know where to begin.
Was there a lot
Like
of pressure? Did you feel pressure knowing that your maps were
no,
going to
not at
be
all.
shown at the World Cup?
It was like I won the lottery. So like I get to imagine if you win the lottery, and also with the money you also get like a trip where everything is organized and everybody treats you like you're the best person ever.
Yeah,
So that's
jeez.
how it felt.
VIP work.
It was amazing, yeah.
Wow, wow. And I guess just getting to network with all the different creators would have been a great opportunity as
Exactly,
well, right?
yeah. So many cool people. Like imagine if you meet all these legends out there. It's like they build like so many cool stuff. And like if you put all these people together in one room, like the creativity is like off the records, you know?
Yeah, the
Like
Avengers
so
of
much.
creative map builders right there.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So yeah, moving on to again another incredible series that you've made, which has been again insanely well received. It's a very unique series. The detective stories is of course what I'm talking about. You've had 3 maps so far of that, with a 4th coming out in just a few days. And yeah, I just wondered, well, 2 things. So one, sort of how did the time and effort planning this map series compare to Dungeon Prison? And then the other thing, just to open a space for you to sort of talk about the map, and I guess the new one coming up for those that might not have played it. I myself haven't actually had the chance to play any of them yet, which I feel so bad for. I need to, but it's just the length of time that I know it's going to take. I haven't had the luxury of that time yet, but I've been watching like Mustard Plays and other creators play them when the other ones have come out, and yeah, they look honestly insane. So you've done a great job at promoting it as well, the way you're marketing it. But yeah, for those in the back, if you want to explain sort of what to expect of the 4th one, what's been going on in the series so far, and yeah, just the time and effort that's gone into making such an elaborate series like this.
It's a whole different beast than Dungeon Prison 2, because Dungeon Prison 2 was all about tweaking, debugging, make sure nobody gets out of the level, they cannot cheat, use your props wisely so you can have as much space as you can to build something huge. Whereas Detective Stories is different. I never go above 80k in a map in Detective Stories, which is super weird. And it's not very big as a map, because each room takes a lot of time to process, read, and then make your verdict, like so you can answer the questions later. So the whole difficulty, let's say, of the Detective Story series is to be consistent in a storyline and try to make something that is believable but also doesn't have any plot holes, So with number 4, I kind of went out a little bit of that little thing. Like I didn't. I went over 80K, of course, and I made something a little bit bigger for the grand finale, let's say. But I also did something which I'm not gonna talk, but it's a little bit based on the budget, let's say. Like it's way above 90K. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
So the whole difficulty is to make sure that people get involved in the storyline and they get immersed, and then try. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's mostly about story. It's not about building something or level design. Actually, level design is a little bit more intricate than Dungeon Prison 2 series. But I don't know.
Yeah, but how did I guess the story element of it come about? Is it a case of storyboarding, writing everything down on a computer first, coming up with, I guess, a script kind of thing, or like how what was your process in terms of that? And like, I guess just to give people an idea, how much time has it been taking you to make this series, each of the maps?
So the first one was kind of came out, like I didn't plan for it, and the second one I wanted it to be a little bit better than the first one. So what I did is I saw people play the first one, or like I would sit down, meditate, go on a jog, and then when I have this killer idea, I would just write it down in a notebook. And once I had an idea for every single area of the game, because every area is like a section of the game. Let's say I usually have like 3 or 4 sections, and then I have a puzzle section, and then like a plot twist in the end, and then it ends. So that's the main format. So I had to have like an area for each section. So I was thinking, like, what could we make it be? Like, what sort of venue should we do it? Is it going to be an exciting venue? What should happen in that venue? Does it affect the story? Like, how do we connect the venue to the story? Like all these little things, like everything had to match. So it was a believable storyline and a believable like game. And it also had to be a game, you know? Like it's not about the venues. You also have to find a way to make them interesting and hard. So like you don't just skim through and then that's it. Because if something is medium to hard difficulty, then you give it more attention, you know?
Yeah.
So that increases immersion. Anyhow, I think
warps you in the storyline.
Yeah. So for the fourth one, I would say I've been building it for 3 months now, and I'm glad it's over because I was like really burning out on that one. But it's done now. So you're gonna see a trailer coming out in a few days, and you're gonna see the map code as well.
So look out for that, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, all of his links will be in the description as always, so keep your eyes peeled on his socials, his Twitter especially, I'd say. Amazing. So map building, I presume, I think you said this earlier actually, you're doing it as a full-time job, right? This is what you do now, like creative map building is 100% of your effort, which is incredible. So I wondered, do you have any advice for any emerging builders out there that want to make this full-time, and advice, I guess, in terms of making successful maps as well?
Yeah, sure. You need 2 things. The first thing is to be motivated, and the second thing is to be not patient, I would say persistent. So don't give up if something like a small difficulty comes in your way. Try to overcome the difficulty and keep on doing what you love. Because if you give up, you will never reach your destination, if that makes any sense. So in order to be motivated, there is like a ton of advice I can give, but it all comes down to just love what you're doing, basically. If you don't love it from the beginning, you're not gonna love it when it gets complicated, and that's when you're gonna burn out.
Some good advice there. Okay, and in terms of I guess making a successful map, I guess, is there any sort of advice there, or is it just, again, just trying to be unique and persistent?
For me, I just make stuff that I love to play, I guess, or love to create. And if you put love into something, like if you create something with love, then the people who play it will also see that love and they will also love it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I mean, you pass on that
That's
love, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's wise words of a chef. I don't know which chef, but I feel like I've heard a chef say that before. If you put love into your cooking, the people that are going to eat at your dinner table are going to feel that love.
Yeah,
So it's,
exactly. That goes in with a lot of things, actually. Yeah.
yeah, just going with love, ladies and gentlemen. So one of the final questions, a bit of a tough one. But yeah, I'm going to give you sort of three categories, and just to make it a little easier, I want you to think on impulse. So the first thing that comes into your head. But I wondered what's the most sort of impressive / proud maps that are out there to you, and the three categories are going to be a map built by you, a map built by a team, so it can be Crate or Idle, Evolve, anything, and a map built by another creator. So of those three categories, so what are your sort of favorite / most impressive or most proud
So for
maps?
me, I would say Dungeon Prison Final is my personal favorite because I
Mm-hmm.
put the most effort in it. For a team, I kind of have to be a little bit biased because fourth dimension.
I mean, that's not. I think everyone has to agree with that one. Fourth Dimension was an incredible series.
And then
Yeah.
by another creator, I'm really bad with names, but there was this level called Escape the Glades, I think. Master Plays played it. I don't know if you remember it.
Escape the
It
Glitch.
was, yeah, it was kind of like
I'm
it
thinking of
was a
Escape the
level that
Dream when you say that, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd know
no,
Escape the Dream.
it was a guy by something about Brain was his name. Okay, I'm really bad. Like my memory is super bad.
It's fine. Okay.
If you skim through Master Plays videos, you can see it's called Escape the Glitch, I think,
Uh
and it
huh.
was a level that was so weird. Like the creator built a level that like nobody knew how they built everything in the level.
Mhm.
Like they obviously used glitches and stuff, but it was so unique, and like it just blew my mind. I saw it and I was like, oh my god, this guy is like a natural.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
was like waiting what he's gonna do next, but then he just disappeared. So I don't know. But
Ah,
I really
okay.
love that level. So it's one of my favorites.
Uh-huh. Is that kind of old then? Was that recent or?
Kind of, yeah. It was maybe April.
Okay, yeah, that's quite a long time ago. Wow, yeah, there's so many map builders that have made incredible maps that sort of disappeared, like you're saying, that did make impressive maps, which is kind of sad, but life happens that way. And for
Yeah.
those of you that are still making maps, just make sure you keep on doing it if you're loving it. And
And let's not forget the new creators that are also building awesome stuff right now.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of new names that I've been
People
seeing
come and
pop up.
go.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the cycle of creative life. But yeah, that's the end of my questions. But as we do have you in the house, I thought it's important to see if I can pick out some questions from the community that they might have for you. And yeah, so I reached out to the Fortnite Creative HQ guys. The Fortnite Creative HQ is an amazing website. For those of you that don't know, you can find a whole bunch of maps separated by specific categories that are of interest to you. And yeah, they have a Discord which is full of incredible creators. And I asked them if they got any questions for my man Wirt here. So the first one is from Comrade Blue, and they asked, when you start out an island, when starting on an island, what's the first thing that you change, or first thing that you place on the island when you're making a map?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think it might be like I just find something that will be my base. So I need a base floor and a base wall, and
Mm-hmm.
those are gonna be used throughout the map. So I find one specific piece that I want to use it, like I know I'm gonna use it in the map. So I place that down, and then I use that to place my devices and everything. Because if you place player-made materials, they
Mm-hmm.
cost 20. Whereas if you place like a normal wall or a floor, it costs 3. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine placing so many devices in player-made wood. It takes a lot of budget.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I do is make sure that I skip that thing and I don't lose so much budget in the process.
There you go, some actual tips there for you as well, comrade, and everyone else listening. How to save memory. Okay, okay. So the next question is from somebody who you're close to, I guess, in terms of the fourth dimension, Mullet Boy 3000. And yeah, he asks, when you're planning maps, when is it beneficial to plan on paper first versus designing on the fly?
It all depends what you want to do. If you want to do something crazy that is unorganized but fun, uh, don't write it down. Just do it. But you have to be on the mood to, like, I would say the first 2 weeks is the golden period of you making a map before you get burned out.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be careful not to surpass that amount. Like, don't do anything crazy big if you want to do this process. Just do something small that you enjoy and don't plan it out. On the other hand, you can do something a little bit bigger, but a bit more organized. So what you do there is that you take like a notebook or like whatever fits your method. And then you just write down things that you enjoy, or like make a cool sketch, or make an overview map of something you really want to have in the map. But in both cases, I would say the thing that is important is to make something that you like, so that when you load them up again, you see that thing you like, and then you are motivated to continue. Don't just start doing something you're not really familiar with and try to make it work, because the next time you're gonna log in, you're not gonna be feel motivated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's some great advice there. So you want to log in, see the island, and be like, I love this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So like motivated to, okay, let's do this now, and then it will become even better the second time you log in.
Uh-huh. Makes complete sense. So the third and final question is from the main man, Sunday CW, and he asked, what are some of the things you've done in the past year to improve yourself as a writer and a world designer, and what would you say is some advice that you could tell any new builder in creative?
So the biggest thing I've done this year is to move on my own. So like I don't live with my parents anymore. I live on my own house, and that gives me a lot of room to not have distractions, let's say, because like it's not like my parents are distracting, but you can always hear a TV or somebody shouting, and then like it takes you away from what you're doing. So
Mm-hmm.
number one rule for me is first be motivated to build, and by motivated I mean like eat well, like have a dog, sleep well, and then the next thing
Have a
would
good
be
headspace.
avoid distractions. Like moving on my own now is like complete silence, and I live in a quiet area as well, so I get to focus on what I'm doing, because I'm not like, I can't do two things at the same time. I have to do one thing, and I give my everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be more focused, or otherwise I won't be able to create.
Nice, nice. And I guess the second part of his question was any particular advice you'd give for new builders starting out in creative?
Yeah, I think it goes a little bit towards the other answer. I think it's motivation. Like, if you're not motivated, then how can you continue? So the first thing is you have to find what drives you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is it? Like, for Sandy, I would say he really loves videos, right? Like making trailers, seeing the artistic thing in the models and like the landscapes. So maybe that's what drives him. So maybe he should focus on that. Explore it with level design, because he's also a really cool level designer.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so find what drives you, and then focus on it, become better at it, and don't be affected by the community in general. Say, okay, so death runs are like the new trend. Don't be affected by the community. Make what you really like, because making something that is medium in quality just because everybody else does it and just because it's famous won't really give you the pleasure. Maybe it gives you more exposure, or maybe like more people play it and then you're happy. I don't know. It all depends like how you like see it. But for me, it was all about doing what I love, really love. So even try to be unique, I'd say, and just focus on the thing you really love, like exactly what you love.
That's some phenomenal advice there by Wertandrew. Hope that answers all your questions for you guys watching this that asked those. And yeah, we're going to wrap up the question segment of this show, Wirt. But before we let my man Wirt go, now it is time for the building challenge. So we're going to head on back over to the building area and give Wirt his 10 minutes to build something out of those 10 absolutely random and ridiculous props. Let's go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in the building challenge area. So We're going to give my man Wirt here, who's sitting down, he's chilling, even though he's got a pretty hard task ahead of him, even for a veteran builder. But you are going to have 10 minutes, my good old alien friend, to build something that us humans recognise. Or maybe aliens recognise it. Are you ready, is the question. Yeah, I'm going to take that as a yeah. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go! Okay, Wirt, you have just 1 minute remaining for this challenge. I am facing the other way, ladies and gentlemen, so I will not see what he's made until the timer is up. I'm excited to see, actually. Just going to go over the props again real quick. We've got a pillar. I'm trying to be quiet so I don't distract him. We've got a table. We've got a chair. We've got a jewellery stand. We've got a checkers/chessboard. Some very peculiar props. What could he actually make out of this? Alright. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. That is the end. Oh man, this beeper's going off like crazy. Alright, let me get rid of that. Are you ready, Wirt? Whoa! Okay. Is this a little quirky giant's bedroom?
I thought that I'd make the circle of life.
Oh yeah, you've got the arrows. Oh, okay. So sleep, eat, repeat. Take a shit. Okay, I like it. Eat, take a dump, sleep, repeat. Wow, what the hell? How did you think of that? And the checkered flooring. Oh, that is actually lit. That's actually lit. He's literally made eat, poop, sleep, repeat. This could be on a t-shirt right here. This is Wertandrew merch right here. So for the first time of having this building challenge, man, yeah, you've done an incredible job. I actually didn't imagine what you would have came up with. Wow, this is incredible. Wow, yeah, great job. This is exactly why you guys need to check out Wertandrew's map. He can come up with this weird ass but incredible unique art piece in 10 minutes using those props. Imagine what his actual maps are like. Alright, let's go back to the studio. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and that is the end of episode 5 with this phenomenal guest that is Wertandrew. And also, as I mentioned at the start, it is the end of the season. So for those of you that have been following the show, make sure you comment down below or follow me on Twitter and at people on Twitter who you would love to see in the next season when that comes back next year with a fresh set, fresh guests, fresh BP run, fresh death run, as I mentioned. But yeah, for now, hope you guys have an incredible Christmas and a happy new year. Wirt, do you want to sign us out with any final words?
Stay awesome.
Amazing. Stay awesome, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great new year.
You don't wanna mess with me. Show you how I do when I catch the beat. Show you how to groove, you can test to see. Squad fall, so I gotta mess with me. Yeah. Other niggas finished, done. This another anthem. Yeah, they don't understand now. You don't understand what? Get the fucking hands up. 'Cause